Good afternoon to all of you. Am I audible?
Yes, ma'am. Good afternoon, ma'am.
Yeah, just wait for 2 more minutes. Let more people to join. Good afternoon, everybody. Just for 1 and 2 minutes wait. Very good afternoon to all of you. I, behalf of International Institute of Geospatial Science and Technology, uh, welcome all of you in this national uh, uh, skill development program, national level. I'm welcoming all of you. Today, uh, Mr. Mr. Piyush Gupta is along with us. So before starting with and before hearing very and Mr. Piyush Gupta, I would like to introduce Mr. Piyush Gupta that he is an officer belonging to the National Mission for Clean Ganga, Department of Water Resource, River Development and Ganga Rejuvenation, Ministry of Jal Shakti. He is working as real-time information specialist and nodal officer of GIS Cell, Ganga Knowledge Center, NMCG. He has spearheaded GIS projects in Namami Ganga program, an integrated and comprehensive river rejuvenation approach, and its projects spanning 11 states of the Ganga River Basin, supporting a model program for river rejuvenation in India. He has been responsible for various policy level interventions, including the LIDAR mapping, Corona project, Bhuvan Ganga geoportal, cultural mapping, microbial mapping, spring rejuvenation, wetland mapping, aquifer mapping, afforestation mapping, and biodiversity mapping, fisheries mapping, and sand mining, water quality decision support system, and capacity building, bringing to completion multiple projects for Aviratal and Nirmalta, Aviralta and Nirmalta of River Ganga. He is a member of National Planning Project as Small River Rejuvenation of Ganga Basin. It is a part of Jal Shakti Abhiyan and National Evaluator of Smart India Hackathon. Its PM initiative, our Prime Minister initiative program for young engineering students. He is nodal officer for ISRO projects, ISRO projects, Vigyan Prasar, DST project, Survey of India project. His academic background is MSc Environmental Science, CSJM University Kanpur, MTech Remote Sensing and GIS, SRM University Chennai, MBA IIE Delhi in Environmental Management, Diploma Certificate courses in River Resources, World Meteorological Organization, and certificate courses in RSGIS from IIRS. Mr. Gupta has 1 decade experience in the field of river resource monitoring and management. He started his early career from prestigious organizations started as SRF at Indian Council of Forestry Research and Education, Dehradun, GIS Associates at Disaster Mitigation and Management Center, Dehradun, Project Scientist at Uttarakhand Space Application Center, Dehradun, Senior Project Engineer at National Informatics Center, Delhi. He has received awards as Best Reviewer Award, Best Paper and Poster Presentations Award, International Congress Cartography Association Award, India Geospatial Leadership Award, ISRI Contest Award, and many more. He is an advisory board member of South Asian Institute for Advanced Research and Development and editorial board member of the International Journal of Higher Education and Research, research published journals, Global Journals US, International Journal of Engineering and Technology Research, World Research Journal of Geoinformatics, International Journal of Environment, and Namami Gange monthly newsletter of Ministry of Jal Shakti. He is holding life membership of professional bodies as International Society of Photogrammetry and Remote Sensing, International Society for Research and Development, Indian Science Congress Association, Indian Society of Geomatics, Indian Society of Remote Sensing, and Indian Association of Hydrologists. He has published more than 30 research papers, 6 book chapters, and 15 articles in international and national reputed journals. And there are many more is about the Mr. Piyush Gupta, but right now I would like to invite Honorable Mr. Piyush Gupta sir to uh, present his presentation and give us opportunity to see something a very exciting presentation from you. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Dr. Mohan Barman, for a nice introduction of mine. But I am not very much so much talented person. I am very down to earth and keen to learn new things in daily life. And before starting presentation, I want to play national anthem for 3 minutes. May I, if you permit? My screen is visible now?
Yes,
Okay.
visible.
Thank you.
Yes.
तो हाँ, पता नहीं, ये तो कर सकते हैं। ये अच्छा है वैसे, बुरा नहीं है। बट अच्छा है, वैसे अगर किसी से वहाँ जाने को मिलेगा तब नहीं मजा आएगा। नहीं नहीं मिलेगा, मिलेगा, चिंता नहीं। ठीक है।
Excuse me, sir. Sir, the video is not audible.
वीडियो इज नॉट ऑडिबल।
No, sir.
Sound is not coming, sir. Listen. Video is okay, but the audio is not coming here also.
No issue, if not audible, you can, everyone can log in YouTube, Namami Ganga Anthem. They can watch. Just I saw there only the mode test. Because daily every student is learning the technical part. So today I thought to down because last 1 or 2 days before I watched this session, this Python program by Dr. Munun Baran by you itself. But it was very nice lecture. I also learned so many things in that lecture. Now I'm going to share my presentation. My slide is visible.
Yes, yes, the slides are visible.
Okay, thank you. This should be visible only. I have taken a topic with geospatial technology and at Ganga regulation. This topic I have chosen because this webinar was the based focused on the geoinformatics and technology and career opportunities, which help in the research and development option also. I will cover water resource and river system and some national programs and the monitoring programs through R&D projects based on the geospatial technology. The presentation will be not boring. It will be some infographic and some new information, and some basic idea of the GIS and some other schemes are doing in our ministry. I will give a small introduction about what is the status of the water resource in our Earth planet. If you see, 74% of the Earth's surface of water is available, and 97% of the Earth's volume of the water is in the saline ocean. Everyone can watch the data. How much is water and what is the utilization and what is the demand in that slide. And if you see 2.2% in the permanent landscape, and only 0.02% is the freshwater streaming, rivers, lake, and
Hello.
reservoir. Hello? Yeah, please.
Hello.
Please.
Piyush. Good afternoon, Piyush.
Yes, sir. Please.
Yeah, good afternoon. Sorry, actually,
No,
I'm
sir.
sorry I could not join in your session.
No,
So,
no, sir. No,
okay,
sir.
so Prabhak, ma'am and other faculty members, Manas sir will take over the today's session. Okay.
No, sir. No, sir.
Okay. Your participant wrote that your voice is not audible. So if you say loudly, please.
Okay, sir. Even though I am getting some more problem from other side,
Okay, okay, okay.
but I will try to improve.
Sure. Thank you.
Okay,
So,
thank you, sir.
ma'am, Manas sir, I'm leaving and you please continue. Thank you.
I continue.
Yeah, yes,
Okay,
please, please.
thank you, sir. And if all of you see the data of the what data is available in the India, if you see the land resources is only in respect to the India is only the 2.4% with respect to the world, and we have the water about 4% only, and we have the human population pressure 17%. You can imagine what is the problem scenario we are facing. In country, total precipitation is near about the 4,000 BCM, and total water ability is the 2,000 BCM, and utilizable water is only 1,000 BCM. In that age, also there are two dividation with the surface water and groundwater, and day by day they are getting decreased utilizable surface water demand per capita. Even though if you see the rainfall pattern on the country for the year, it is also disturbing due to the climate change. Here in this graph, you can see the temperature and rainfall pattern is decreasing day by day, decreasing in the terms of the rainfall pattern.
Excuse me,
Precipitation,
sir.
yeah.
Excuse me, sir. Sorry to interrupt. Actually, it's some background news. Background actually noise is coming. That's why the audio is not very clear. Many like students or participants they are saying like that. I think it's not clear from my side also because some background noise is there. Might be.
Okay, I am doing
That's
one
why.
thing. I am doing one thing. I am disconnecting from this system and connecting to my laptop. It will be better.
Yes, sir, that's will be whatever we will see, we will hear also, and it
No,
will be
sir.
like very much helpful for all of us. That's why.
No, sir. Thank you. Thank you. No, sir.
Participant, just wait for 3-4 minutes. It will be reconnect. Piyush sir will reconnect again and will join us.
Now, I'm audible.
Yes, sir. Now you are clearly audible, sir.
Hello.
better than, yes, sir. Hello.
Hello.
Hello, sir. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you easily.
Yeah, I can hear you clearly, sir. Better than last time, actually. Much more better.
Slide is usual, na?
Yes.
Yes.
Now
Okay,
slide is.
thank you. Thank you. If you see the water demands is the if we classified the sector of water demand, irrigation, domestic, industry, energy, and other, the some portion we are find the water demand is increasing some sector, just like irrigation or industry, and even though we are failing we can cope up this issue with the help of the inter-basin transfer water boundary with surplus water to deficit basin. We can also cover this problem with the help of the recycling and reuse of the wastewater, through desalination and artificial recharge of the groundwater. And I'm covering here the rivers and SDG. In total, 17 SDG goals are defined in the United Nations General Assembly in 2015. In that, we are covering to the six is the clean water and sanitation. The official wording of is the ensure availability and sustainable management of the water sanitation for all. Every country is working to cover this water goal six further, to cover to improve the SDG goals which we allotted to every country. And in our ministry, there are so many programs going on, such as the Pradhan Mantri Krishnai Yojana. In that program, we are covering the micro irrigation program, the accelerated irrigation benefit programs. In all program, we are having the dedicatedly GIS work. There are so many GIS data is generating day by day. And one more very important program is the Jal Jeevan Mission. Its aim at the improving the life of rural people to reduce the degradation of women. In that, we are improving the water bodies and restoring the water bodies. Some are the abandoned for the last too many years. And one more is the program is going on the Jal Shakti Abhiyan. The main catchy word is the catch the rain, where it falls when it falls. Here we are here all same. We are all doing some work just at water set development, water conservation program, rainwater harvesting, artificial recharge, training and awareness task is going on in this mission. And recently launched by the PM is the Atal Bhujal Yojana. This scheme is also covering the ground to the improvement of the groundwater recharge. Through this, because we have the very limited the water resource. If one time a resource can be destroyed, it can be again we can get. But if we degrade our system, or if system gets any problem, it can't be established as pristine time. Now I am covering the Ganga Basin. Ganga means to flow or to move. From that word, it originates Ganga, and it covers the 11 state. It covers the totally 11 state. And here I am showing the some ancient map of the second century AD of the ancient Ganga Basin map. Because nowadays we are having the dam and so many files and some technology to map the accurate basin. But before so many years, it was not possible to calculate the catchment area. Here I'm showing the land feature of the Ganga Basin. The Ganga River is declared as a national river on the 4th November 2018. 8. Total length of the Ganga is the 2525 kilometer. The largest sharing length is the UP and Bihar, 110 kilometer, and total catchment area is 8 lakh square kilometer. It covers the 27% of the India total geographical area of India. India's 40% population cover the reside in the Ganga basin. Through this, you can think the how much pressure is upon the Ganga basin, and it is very rich through the biodiversity. There are so many fishes and endangered species such as the Gangetic dolphin and national Bengal tiger is available in this Ganga basin. And they are notified 16 Ramsar sites in Ganga basin. The smallest and largest Ganga basin also available in this basin, such as largest is the Sundarban.
Sir, Piyush sir,
Yeah,
slide is not moving, I think. Like if you are doing slideshow, it is also not moving. Uh, start.
once again I'm doing once again. I
That is
think
just like you share the whole screen. Like if you share the whole screen, there was your entire screen, then I think
now it is okay.
slide.
Now it is
And
okay. It is moving.
now silent features of Ganga Basin.
Okay. And now,
Yes, now it's moving. Yes.
okay. Okay, no issue. I can go this way. Here is the I will talk about the effort toward the Ganga conservation. Ganga cleaning not started the last few years. It is started from the 1985 from GAP 1, GAP 2, NRCP, National Reservation Conservation Program. After then it comes in 2009 in NGBRA, National Ganga River Basin Authority. After then in 2014 it come as a Namami Gange. After in 2016 it is notified as a authority. In 2018 we got the e-flow notification. Namami Gange program is an integrated conservation mission to complete the effective abatement of the pollution, conservation, and reservation of the National Ganga River under EPA Act 1986. Here I will talk what is the difference between the previous effort and now in Namami Gange. I am informing all these about only because every can know the what is the thematic areas, problems, issue, and what challenges going on in the conservation of the water resource management. Previous program was the such as Gap One, Gap Two, and Yamuna Action Plan, Gopti Action Plan was the not having the basin approach. But now in the Mami program we are working in basin approach model. It is fully centrally funded, 100% government funding. In Namami Gange long-term OEM 15%, but before it was not long-term OEM operation and maintenance. And in this we are getting the hybrid NOT mode, and this is more focus on the Aviral Dhara, Nirmal Dhara, afforestation, biodiversity, communication, public outreach. It means it is the now comprehensive program for the river basin management. Here in this slide, I am showing the what is the apex body of Ganga cleaning. The apex body is the National Ganga Council, chaired by the Prime Minister. After then, it is the Import Task Force, chaired by the Chief Minister of the states. And National Mission Clean Ganga is chaired by the Director General of NMCG. And State Ganga Committee is chaired by the State Authority. And District Ganga Committee is chaired by the District Authority. This is our cadre. And how can a large basin can be resonate? This is the formula. How can we resonate? We are following this formula. First is Aviral Dhara, uninterrupted flow, and second is Nirmal Dhara, unpolluted flow, and third is the geological entity, and fourth is ecological entity. And there are so many missions just like Aviral, Nirmal, ecological, sustainable, geological safeguarding, basin protection against disaster, river hazard management, and environmental knowledge building and sensitization. In the Mami Gange, we are covering the so many components such as pollution abatement, sewerage infrastructure, solid waste management, industrial pollution abatement, rural sanitation, water quality monitoring, riverfront, ghat and crematoria development, urban river management plan, Aviral Dhara, afforestation, biodiversity conservation, research and knowledge management, and public participation. And if you see this map, in if you see this map, you can find the where our the NMCG intervention are going on and where is completed and where is under tendering process. And if you see that this graph, you can find out the difference between the 2014 and now onwards. Some glimpse of the sewerage project. In left side, you can see the Sisamo Nala. It is very old. This is the largest Nala of the Asia. Now it has been tapped, and one major work is the riverfront development. Uh, you can see the before and after glimpse of the some ghats of the Chandigarh and Rudraprayag, Chandigarh and Rudraprayag Ghat. And if you find there is a major footfall where the in Ganga Basin we have developed so many the ghats and crematoria, electric crematoria, and some museums in the along the Ganga Basin, such as Patna and Haridwar. And we are also working the solid waste management with the help of trace schemer, and we are more focused on the industrial pollution abatement. Now, all GPIs of the Ganga Basin is under monitoring of the Namami Gange program. And we are also try to establish the common effluent treatment plant. Currently, the CETP common effluent treatment plant for Trani cluster is under process. Water. Now I'm talking about the water quality monitoring. In Ganga Basin, we have the 94 location for manual water quality monitoring stations under CPCB, and we have the 36 real time water quality monitoring stations installed the entire mainstem, and we are planning to set up the additional 40 real time water quality monitoring stations to get the water quality data through sensor. In the map we can see the what is the distribution of the manual water quality stations and real time water quality monitoring stations. In the right hand side you can see the real time water quality monitoring stations distribution along the Ganga Basin. There is some data. What I am showing the data in the form of table and maps. If anyone can to compare through table, it is not possible. But if you want to compare or take decision of large basin, the map is very suitable. Here the GIS can be applicable very easily. And if you find the water quality, DO is improving and the BOD is also improving, DO should be increased and BOD should be decreased. And overall trend is very good. All are DO in case of DO, all are complying. And CPCB also classified the some polluted stretch, first, second, third, and fourth and fifth. First is the monitoring location exceed more than 30 milligram. On that on that criteria, we are following only the 4 and 5th category of the in 4 category Uttarakhand and UP, and fifth in Bihar case, and in West Bengal from Triveni to Diamond Harbour we are getting in the third category. In third category, if you see the monitoring location having a 10 to 20 milligram liter BOD. This is the one slide related to the last year impact of the lockdown due to the COVID-19 pandemic on some aspect of River Ganga and major tributaries. In that in at that time our engineers go to the field and collect some data through visual aid, some physical parameter of rivers and drains, stakeholder perspective through the questionnaire survey, and some physical, chemical and biological water quality monitoring parameter. Major water quality parameter was the temperature, DO, BOD, pH, alkalinity, hardness, electric conductivity, total suspended solid, total dissolved solid, chemical oxygen demand, and so many more. After then, they find there is some impact on the biota of flora and fauna in upper reaches of the Ganga. And I'm coming to the second part of the Avral Dhara. We are more focused on the continuous flow. Under this, one gadget notification is come in 2018 as in form of e-flow, ecological flow. GIS is also very helpful to determine the ecological flow because they needs lots of data. There is one more component of the Earth Ganga. Earth Ganga concept is last year in NGC meeting PM told us to develop some spiritual and economic model for the Ganga basin. For this Earth Ganga model, the so many ministry are participating, such as the Agriculture Ministry, Niti Aayog, MOEF and CC, some state government, tourism and culture, animal husbandry, and Ministry of Power, and Ministry of Shipping and Ayush. Every ministry giving some support in form of their respective areas, such as tourism giving the waterway information, and the MOEFCC is giving the forestry and floriculture information regarding Ganga. There's so many information coming. It will help the residing Gram Ganga residents. One more effort is going on in the medicinal plantation along the Ganga basin. These plantation is also helpful in the improving our e-flow of the water. And here I am talking about the international collaboration for river basin planning. To rejuvenate any large river basin, this is the criteria. This is the criteria through that we can rejuvenate the Ganga basin. And every 6 years, it has to change informal planning is for parameter, and some design parameter, and some decision making. It should be changed after 6 years. So we are working in the first year of the river basin planning management cycle. It is supported by the GIZ Germany and some European Union water partnership. And this model is the converting into there are so many large basin of country, such as Tamil Nadu. In Yamuna River Basin is also converting this model and adopting this model. Periyar, Kaveri, Godavari, Narmada, Mahananda. There are so many river basins adopting this model to rejuvenate their basins. We are also working on the community engagement, linking livelihood and conservation. There are so many programs such as Ganga Run, such as river rafting, and Ganga Quest. There are so many programs going on and some student internship program. Even though map mapping competition for the KV students. Now I'm coming the main part of the GIS. In Namami Gange, to rejuvenate any river, there is a one requirement. Main requirement is the scientific data. In every ministry, there is a lack of the scientific data for the planning. To thinking that this issue, we have sponsored the so many R&D project which is required. There is one path breaking project is the generation of high resolution DM and GIS ready database for the part of River Ganga for NMCG. This is the LIDAR mapping project. In this project, we have decided the area to map through LIDAR is the 10 kilometer buffer from both sides, and the stretch is start from the Rishikesh to the Ganga Sagar. In this project, 60% area has been mapped through the area LIDAR. And in this project, the main thing is we are generating our own Geoid model, because every dam, if we are improving our vertical accuracy through the local datum, it will be improved and will be helpful in the hydrological modeling. Because before this we are using the SRTM or Cartosat dam, which is the 10-meter resolution or 90-meter resolution, but it is not worth it to do any hydrological modeling. And this is the status of that project. Entire GeoD model has been completed in Ganga Basin, and the data acquisition is covered the more than 60%. There is a one second important project is the Aquifer Mapping. It's focused on the paleo channels in part of the Ganga Yamuna Doab in the Kosambi Kanpur stretch of UP. In that presentation, you can see that some of the water pockets, because underground water or paleo channels are the beneath the earth. Through the ERT, electromagnetic geophysical through electromagnetic geophysical survey, we can map the where are the water pockets or aquifers. In this project, we are try to get some information of the in between of the Ganga and Yamuna. Where are the water pockets, so that the water can be transferred from the Yamuna to Ganga or Ganga to Yamuna. If you see Ganga flow on upper part and Yamuna is flowing the lower parts. One more project is undergoing on in NMCG. This is the spring resolution, spring mapping project. It is shooting by the IIT Roorkee and CGWB. Through this, we are also mapping the springs through the lidar sensor. Through this data, we will try to generate the information. What is the cause of the discharge of the spring, and nowadays not discharging the some amount of water due to some encroachment or any other issue. After getting all information of spring set, it will be help to the rejuvenate of the entire Himalaya. And one more project based on the spring rejuvenation. This is also based on radar technology, and in that we are getting the information what is the age of the springs with the help of the isotopic technique. Through the isotopic technique, we can get the information how much old the springs. This is a one different type of project. NEERI doing the some GIS-based mapping of the microbial diversity across the Ganga of the ecosystem services. Because before the some researchers doing parts and bits, they collect the sample from the river and the inform about the this stage having this type of bacteria. And if you get the so many literature, they are doing in the parts of the area of the river. But through this platform in GI domain, we are collecting all information and hosting all data into the on a single GI domain platform. It will help the all researchers to know the what is the spread of the antibiotic resistance of genes of the bacteria. It will very helpful for the biotechnology, microbiology research students. Here is the very important project in is executing by the IIT Delhi, sponsorship by the NMCG, high resolution climate scenario for Ganga Basin water resource management application. Generally, we are getting the climate data in form of coarse resolution. But if you want to know what is the impact of the Ganga Basin in my district or my village, so no data is support to tell about the climate change scenario. So through this model, through WRF model, through this we are converting all the data in the form of the GIS domain at the scale of 10 into 10 kilometer resolution. Means district level information, the temperature data, precipitation data, relative humidity data, like that. All data we are converting into the district level. Because as per the study of the 2091 to 2100 years, the climate scenario is changing. The summer is going to be the more increasing. Here is another project. This is the reconstructing the Ganga of the part from the Corona archival imagery. This is the if you go to the NASA website, you find the Corona spy satellite programs. It was done by the CIA, Central Intelligence Agency, USA. There are so many Corona spy satellites at the time of 1960s. They mapped all entire Ganga basin, near about the 8,000 satellite images in form of the maximum resolution is the 8-meter resolution in panchromatic in nature, and some stereoscopic in nature also. Through that, we can also generate the DEM. All the data we have decoded. After then, we have compared the information of the 1960s to 2019-20. What is the changing is going on? What is the land dynamics? and what is the geomorphology dynamics. Through that we can know the where is the river is shifting towards left or right, how much distance. This project has been completed. This is the part of that project. You can see the Haridwar region, how much river flow has been shifted. Somewhere it found the 60 meters, somewhere we found the 1 kilometer also. Now all the small rivers has been mapped of the Ganga Basin. It is helping in the planning of the regulatory excursion of the district authorities. Here one more project is is done by the Intech. Intech is the mapping the all the cultural heritage of the Ganga Basin, architectural, intangible, built, natural, all type of the this data is going to be mapped by the Intech. There are in few districts, near about 42 districts, which is the listed here. And you can see this is the very ancient map of the Alkananda River. At that time, they depict all those information in the form of this strip. It is built upon the cloth. And now all data has been converted into the GIS form of the water quality data. It can be found in the dashboard form. Through that, any decision maker can take decision which STP is compliance or not compliance, which stretch is getting polluted due to which region. All data of the since 1980 of the CPCB data, all data had been converted into GIS domain nowadays. We are also mapping of the wetland, all entire of the Ganga Basin, and we are also take over the some state wetland authority of the UP, and there is also we have developed some GIS lab to proper map, monitor, and management of the wetlands under this scheme. We are also mapping the some biodiversity and afforestation through WII and preparing the some high biodiversity richness map of the some species, iconic species of the Ganga Basin, so that we can conserve and protect them. And ISRO is also supporting to propagate all data in the Bhuvan platform. So all data has been propagated on the Bhuvan platform, which will help for the researchers. In that, all data is helpful in the water quality monitoring, hydrological monitoring, and evolution, geomorphological monitoring, and bioresource monitoring, and comprehensive some geospatial data sets. If any researchers need some data, they can also see from the Bhuvan Ganga portals. And there are so many layers, more than 150 layers. There's a dam also. They can also some do query regarding the with reference to statics. I'm showing some data output, which type of data are available on Bhuvan Ganga. And there is one more mobile application on crowdsource, citizen-centric crowdsource mobile app. There is the Bhuvan Ganga. Through that, any person can give the information, and that it comes on our server. Through that, we get the 3,500 points given by the public. Here I am talking about the some key reforms which are very early we got the some liberalization of the geospatial sector. This is the bill coming in the last in I think in Feb. Ministry of Science and Technology released a new guideline for the geospatial sector in India. It is very helpful for the new generation of the in the field of which have the expertise in GIS. It will also help in e-commerce. And nowadays every ministry is creating a large amount of the GIS data. Means every ministry having the too much career opportunity in the field of GIS. But we have to know which technology will be used and where it will be used. Now my slide is over. I am ready for answer. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir, you sir, for this nice presentation. And now this is the time for question answer session. Participants, now you can ask the question to Piyush sir. Anybody can ask the question.
Hello, may I ask a question?
Sure, sir.
Sure.
Yeah, I wanted to ask one thing that along the Ganga, how many cities and how many settlements are actually throwing in the sewage there, untreated sewage or whatever? That's I want. I mean, I know there is industrial effluent also being thrown into it, but do we have? We must be having a complete data. That's what I just wanted to know. That how many of it is there, and what are we doing to stop that?
Thank you, sir. Very valid questions. Total 117 districts are along 117 major districts along the Ganga main stem. Every municipality is not having the proper GIS data. Every district is not having their STP. But after coming Namami Gange, we are covering the first large cities of the mainstream and tributaries, which through that we are preparing the some STP, and we are also re-establish the some STP which was not functioning of the which was built in last government. But currently now every city I am talking about 117 district, every city has been covered. And all these cities are working through the some Namami Gange mission, through Amrit mission, some smart cities. But nowadays situation is improving.
Okay, okay.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Any other participants?
Main thing I want to say to the some young researchers, if there is I think there are so many young researchers. अगर आप जीआईएस बहुत अच्छा जानते हैं, सिर्फ उससे मतलब नहीं है जब तक आप थीमेटिक एरियाज में नहीं जानते हैं, क्योंकि जनरली क्या है कि जीआईएस जान ज्योग्राफी स्टूडेंट ज्योग्राफी का कंसेप्ट अच्छा समझता है, प्रैक्टिकल नहीं हो पाता। अगर प्रैक्टिकल हो पाता है तो थीमेटिक एरिया से गायब है, थीमेटिक एरिया पता है तो प्रोग्रामिंग लैंग्वेज से कहीं ना कहीं करता है। अब कोई भी परफेक्ट नहीं है, मतलब किसी से भी घबराने की जरूरत नहीं है, क्योंकि मेरा सब्जेक्ट ये है, चाहे हम यहाँ से हैं, कोई भी इंसान परफेक्ट नहीं है। परफेक्शन की हर जगह कमी है। जिसको अच्छा रिवर की नॉलेज है उसके पास जीआईएस नहीं है, जिसके पास जीआईएस की नॉलेज है उसके पास जॉब नहीं है, जिसके पास जॉब है उसके पास फिर पैसा नहीं है। तो टोटली परफेक्शन की तरफ नहीं जाना है, हमारे पास जो है जितना है जिसमें हमें उसमें बेस्ट करना है। तो जितने यंग रिसर्चर हैं सबसे पहले ये पता होना चाहिए कहाँ कहाँ पे उनका स्कोप है, क्योंकि अगर आप बुकिश नॉलेज से ही अगर पता करेंगे, अगर आप कॉलेज से पता करेंगे कि हमें कहाँ कहाँ जॉब कर सकते हैं, तो सीधा सीधा कोई भी कहेगा आप इसरो में जाइए। अब हर कोई इतना पॉपुलेशन वाली कंट्री, हर कोई इसरो में नहीं जा सकता है, या हर कोई सब असिस्टेंट प्रोफेसर उसी कॉलेज में नहीं बन सकता है। तो जितने भी यंग हैं, कई डोमेन कई एरिया, मतलब अब आज के टाइम में कई जगह डिमांड है, इतनी जगह डिमांड है कि पूछना नहीं है, जीआईएस कमी नहीं है। बट उस लेवल तक पहुंचना है और टाइम रहते पहुंचना है। अगर टाइम से अगर आप उस जगह पहुंचते हैं, अब क्योंकि गवर्नमेंट में भी अब जीआईएस की पोस्ट निकल रही है, पहले नहीं निकलती थी, और सीनियर लेवल पे नहीं निकलती थी, अब आजकल सीनियर लेवल पे पोस्ट निकल रही है। तो आप लोग अपने आप को जो है थीमेटिक एरिया में भी एक्सप्लोर करिए, सिर्फ जीआईएस नहीं जानना है। जीआईएस इज ए टूल है, टूल को थीमेटिक एरिया से कनेक्ट करके ही जानना है, तो ज्यादा बेटर होगा। दिस वाज माय कंक्लूडिंग रिमार्क टू ऑल यंग रिसर्चर्स।
एंड दैट इज वेरी वैलिड पॉइंट सर। और आपने जिस तरीके से हम लोगों को बताया, और जो यंग रिसर्चर्स है बेसिकली, अब मतलब ये है कि हमें किसी भी चीज से घबराना नहीं है, बहुत अच्छी बात है। वेरी गुड थिंग सेड बाय सर, दैट don't that you have to participate in this field, and by giving your best, actually whatever you know, that you have to do your best, and of course by asking the question also. So if anybody wanted to ask some question, please, this is the time that you can ask. I think some message came, but not for question.
If anyone having site, they can also mail to me. Not an issue. They can also mail question later. That's not an issue. Otherwise, for any help, I am ready.
Yes, sir, I will share the
Thank you,
email.
ma'am.
Yes, sir. Okay.
May I leave the platform or any other questions?
Yes, that is why I'm also
Okay, okay. No issue. No issue. No issue. No issue.
waiting for just 2 minutes for the question.
No issue. और एक चीज और ऐड करना चाहूंगा, जनरली क्या डेटा कंट्री में भी डेटा नहीं है। मतलब आज के टाइम में हम अब लिडार की बात कर रहे हैं। लिडार टेक्नोलॉजी कोई नई नहीं है, ये भी 10 साल पुरानी है। और आज भी वाटर रिसोर्स में अब जाके डैम बन रहा है लिडार से। अदरवाइज हम जो है नासा की साइड से जो है डेटा डाउनलोड करके डैम से हम सारी मॉडलिंग करते थे। तो अभी इमर्जिंग फील्ड है, बहुत सारी चीज़ें नई नई करनी है। तो जितना एक्सप्लोर करेंगे, जितनी चीज़ें करेंगे, उतनी चीज़ें लर्न होंगी। पर मतलब बहुत सारी चीज़ें हैं, डेटा भी परफेक्ट नहीं है। अभी लिडार करने के बाद पता चलता है हमने ये कमी कर दी है। इस लेवल पे भी जो है मिनिस्ट्री लेवल पे बहुत गलतियां होती हैं। परफेक्शन नहीं है चीज़ें। कई जगह जो है बड़े बड़े ऑर्गेनाइजेशन भी सीखते हैं कई चीज़ें। तो यंग स्टूडेंट को और स्ट्रगल करना है, नई चीज़ें के साथ एक्सप्लोर करना है, चीज़ों से घबराना नहीं है। और लगभग जितनी भी गवर्नमेंट की साइट है, जहाँ जहाँ जी एस सबको विजिट करना है। जनरली ये यंग रिसर्चर नहीं करते हैं। जिधर सब कर रहे हैं, सब वही नहीं करना है। सब ने पेपर पब्लिश किया, क्लास में 2 लोग, सारे लोग पेपर पब्लिश के पीछे। सब मिक्स चीज, ऐसा नहीं है कि जो एक कर रहा है वही सही है। कई तरह के ऑप्शन आप लोग एक्सप्लोर कर सकते हो, खासकर यंग। ये एक बहुत अच्छा प्लेटफॉर्म है कि आपको कोलकाता से सीधे दिल्ली जोड़ा गया है। दिस इज वेरी गुड इनिशिएटिव।
So that's why I'm telling that to ask the question, and it's a very nice that session was और बहुत अच्छा जानने को मिला. Thank you very much.
थैंक यू मैम, थैंक यू ऑल ऑफ यू।
Now, for the next session, uh, we have Dr. Sameer Saran sir along with us. So let him to join. So just wait for 1 and 2 minutes. He will join soon with us. Good afternoon. Good afternoon, sir. I think it's good evening now. Good evening, Dr. Sameer Saran, sir. Am I audible, sir? Can you hear me?
Yes, you are. Yes, you are.
Yes. So we have on podium Dr. Sameer Saran along with us. So before hearing from Dr. Sameer sir, I would like to welcome Dr. Sameer Saran sir, and wanted to add about him something about him that he is a scientist, engineer in the Department of Geoinformatics, Institute of Remote Sensing, Government of India. I would like to add about the expertise field of the Dr. Sameer sir, that the expertise field is web GIS and geodata modeling and processing, spatial data mining and spatial decision modeling, open source GIS, 3D GIS, and more. And he is a PhD in geoinformatics. Along with that, he's pursuing PhD in research from Wageningen University, Netherlands, on role of microwave remote sensing for water erosion modeling in Himalayan watershed. He is holding the certificate on microwave remote sensing and hydrology from the same university, Netherlands, and he is holding the certificate course on photogrammetry and remote sensing IIRS. I would like to add the felicitation he have about he received Indian National Geospatial Award 2011. The award was by Indian Society of Remote Sensing during annual convention of Indian Society of Remote Sensing and National Symposium held at Bhopal during November, that is 2011. He received the ISRO ASI Team Award 2009. He received ISRO Team Excellence Award
Uh,
2009.
I think we
Okay.
it's not required. I think we can start the lecture. So
Yes, sir.
yeah.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. Then you are on the podium, sir. You can continue, sir. Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. So I have sharing rights. Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay. Is it screen is
Yes,
visible?
screen is visible, right, sir.
Uh-huh. Okay, but I think let me see. Hold on. There's some problem. I think in my system it is creating some problem. So I will once again do stop sharing and then I'll do it. Okay.
Okay.
Mm, Yeah, now it is okay.
Yes, sir. We can see the screen, sir. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Maybe I can my video. Okay. Anyway, video is coming, so it's not a problem. Okay. Okay. Uh, Thank you for giving the introduction. And today I'll be talking on the role of GIS in geohealth application. Uh, well, this particular domain is quite new, especially in India as well as in some other countries. And there is now a lot of emphasis is on the geospatial technology or GIS in this area. Maybe the lessons learned due to the pandemic, which has happened and which is anyway everybody is getting affected because of this pandemic. So there is a realization that how this particular technology can really help to understand the behavior, to analyze, and they can provide the fastest output in order to overcome the problems. So my lecture would rather emphasize on the more on the GIS part, and also that how geohealth can be understood with the help of the geospatial technology. So there are I'll be talking about the background that why we are talking on the geohealth. Then a few concepts of GIS, why GIS is needed, and how geohealth takes an important component in the present scenario. I will be talking on the use cases, some of the use cases which to some extent relates to COVID-19, and there are few other this thing, but more focus is on the COVID-19 or the infectious disease. Few concepts on the initiatives which are taken at national and international level. Uh, then also the industry's role, and then further we'll conclude with our overall discussion. Why the geohealth has got a lot of importance at national level? When we talk about India as a whole, we are around more than 1.4 billion population, and in fact, the entire country is experiencing different type of problems with respect to health, like communicable or non-communicable disease. And in fact, this particular problem was never, in fact, there are initiatives by Ministry of Health, as well as a lot of initiatives or projects have been undertaken by ICMR. But overall, if you see the overall population size and looking at the problems, we are still facing a lot of issues with respect to different type of diseases. Everybody knows that we are experiencing the largest burden of dengue in the recent past. There are cases related to cancer, and you might have observed that these cases are exponentially increasing, whether you talk about cancer or diabetes or so many other people, and that too at all the different levels, income level groups. In the recent past, the zoonotic disease is also experienced among many, like in India as well as globally, and also there are cases or the mortalities with respect to pneumonia, diarrhea, as well as now I think COVID-19. It's really important to really understand all the diseases with respect to its behavior, with respect to its distribution, and with respect to its location. Now, if we look back in the health perspective, I think GIS, Geographical Information System, was evolved because of health-related problem. I'll just would like to share you an example of Dr. John Snow way back in 1854. He was an English physician, and in fact, he was a person who could really brought the concept of GIS, wherein he tried to map the cholera outbreak. There was a cholera outbreak in London, and in fact, it was difficult for them to understand whether this problem is because of the waterborne disease or because of the air. So they were really, it was difficult for them to infer that what is the real problem. So what he did is he mapped the entire localities, all the location, the hand pump location he mapped, as well as the area where the more maximum people, there was many cases of death which was observed in those locations. So what pattern he found is he could identify the colony, or I would say a segment of the locations where the death locations as well as the water pump locations. He could able to develop the relationship, and with that relationship he could identify that what is the sole cause of that cholera outbreak. And in fact, that was the water pump, which was ultimately providing the contaminated water, and people who were drinking that water from that pump was getting infected because of cholera. So that was the reason. In fact, the moment he brought that map into and then pinpointed those locations, he could able to understand that this is the main source, or this is the problem because of which this cholera outbreak is there. So once they removed that pump, all the cases, there was no cholera cases further, and he could ultimately provide the solution to this particular problem. So basically, diagnose is something different, but if you are able to understand the location, and if you are able to relate those location with n number of environmental parameters, you can really get some indicator by which you can provide the solution. So this is a classic example, and in fact, that was the beginning of geographical information system, where he was able to establish direct relation between the location as well as health. So this is a classic example, and in fact, this example is being shared by all the GIS specialists, because this is the starting point of geographical information system. When we talk about geospatial mapping, anyway, John Snow, he was the person behind spatial epidemiology, who could really develop, or I would say he could trigger this particular technology in the field of health. And then likewise, you might be aware about Zika and Ebola diseases. In fact, because of this geospatial technology, they could able to track those disease, and because of this tracking, they could I would say that they could understand that where it is happening, and they could stop that the spreading of those disease. So if disease can travel faster, the information has to travel even more faster. So this technology, basically, if you are able to have the geospatial coordinates of various indicators, you can really make some good initiatives by which you can eradicate a particular disease. Geospatial technology as a whole is a gamut of so many different type of technologies, whether you talk about earth observation, wherein you have a plethora of sensors which are available, of course, from Indian remote sensing constellations. Then you have Europe, you have US, you have private industry. So many satellites are available, and you have a good, I would say, a big canvas with respect to the resolution, whether you talk about coarse resolution or you talk about fine resolution, whether it is spatial, whether it is spectral, whether it is temporal. All the spectrum of the satellite data is available with the people, and with that satellites, whether you intended to have the coverage in any part of the world, you can get those data sets available on your desk. And that is one. The second part is the geophysical products from remote sensing data. That also helps, because you might be looking for a derived information, whether you talk about environmental parameters, or there could be so many other geophysical products which are available through various space agencies. Whether you talk about classic example is MODIS, you are having good number of products, and now NRSC Bhuvan is also providing some good through NICES. They are providing good amount of geophysical products. And apart from that, there are data sets available from Vedas and all. So you have good information available. Only thing is, you should know how to use that information, and ultimately it can provide you value addition information which you are looking for. Then I will not touch upon GIS, but I will skip to GPS.
Sorry
Hello?
to interrupt. Are you moving the slides, sir? Are you moving the slides?
Yes,
Because
yes, I am. I am.
I think the slide, no, actually the slides are not moving from our side actually. Maybe it's stuck somewhere. I think you have just share
Pardon?
again. Share again
Okay.
the
Okay. Okay.
screen of the slide.
Mm-hmm. Is it now visible?
Yeah, it's visible. Uh, Now we can see the slide. Uh, if you change, can you change one slide, please? I want to see just that whether working or something. So if you go to 10th slide, like I would just like to see that.
Is it coming?
No, just it is showing the one slide only. That is geospatial technologies, building
No,
knowledge.
no, but I have changed. I have changed the previous slide.
If you go
You could
9 to
see.
10 slide, and then it's change or not.
Okay. See. No.
No, sir, it's not changing. If you share by entire screen, sir, then it will work.
Okay. Okay. I will do that. Okay.
Because very interesting slide we can see, but not able to see whole. It's not changing.
Mhm. Yeah. Now you could see.
Now slide is yes. Now it's moving. Yeah, it's
It's
open.
moving.
Yeah. Thank you, sir.
Okay. Okay. So I was talking about the geospatial technology. It has got various components. The first part, anyway, I have already told that Earth observation system, wherein the you have a good amount of or good number of satellite data available, ranging with different spatial resolution, high to low. Then you have spectral, you have temporal, and not only that, you also have a liberty of the airborne data, wherein you can even you have like UAVs and all those things. So there is a lot of Earth observation data available. And then you also have geophysical products, which are the derived product from the remote sensing. Then we talk about GPS. I think, or I would say GNSS, because here the location information provides an. I think that is one of the most important component of the geospatial data. Whether you talk about any satellite, like presently people are aware of the GPS, global positioning system, where you have the data sets available with respect to its latitude and longitude. So those locations can be geotagged with the help of the GPS. Then we have the ground data. We have the any type of measurements what you do on the ground, or any type of I would say geotagging, field photographs, everything, or crowdsourced data can be directly integrated and is a part of the geospatial technology. The last part or before that is GIS. Basically, why GIS has a lot of importance in this particular domain, because it can integrate all type of geospatial data which is available, whether the data is coming from Earth observation system, or whether the data is coming from GPS, or the data is coming from the ground. Everything can directly be integrated into a GIS framework. So that is why it has got a much bigger canvas, much bigger umbrella by which you can directly extract that information. And the last part is the application, where the decision making can be done, and ultimately with respect to a particular application, you can create these data sets, you can integrate these data sets, and ultimately you can provide a value added information. Now GIS, as I told you, that it has a much bigger canvas, and the different type of data can be integrated by making use of geographical information system. And you can see that we have a data of a particular region, and there could be n number of layers, the spatial layers. And once these spatial layers are available, you can apply any type of mathematical operation to these data sets, which can ultimately provide you an information. So there are ways and means by which you can model these data sets, and you can generate the outputs. So, but why GIS used in health? That is the most important thing, because as I told you in my earlier slide of John Snow, wherein the basic objective was that how I can relate health with location. So basically, if you see that health in GIS is complex and requires dynamic approach for understanding the drivers behind the pattern that we see. So basically, whenever we talk about any health disease, we very first thing we generally look for that where is the exact location where this particular pandemic or epidemic or any outbreak has happened. So the location provides an important information. Then when it has happened, why it has happened, how many people got affected, what is the see, there could be so many W's where you try to understand, and that the answer to these W's is GIS only, because GIS, once the health information gets geotagged, or I would say digitized in a GIS domain, you can really answer all your queries, or I would say all your the information which you are looking for can be directly addressed by making use of GIS. So just this, in fact, because of this the requirement, or I would say because of the potential of GIS, it can be directly used in the health related application. So thus GIS establishes a strong spatial relationship between health and location. Now, when we talk about GeoHealth, we talk about the different type of relationships which happen between people, between location, between time and health. So basically, there are two components, or I would say there is a overlapping between the two domains. One, anyway, GIS, where the basic it is basically a geographical information system, is a software, I would say, whether it is open source or commercial. It enables to capture the data, it enables to store the data, it enables to analyze the data, and it enables to visualize the data. So any GIS software, whether you talk about commercial or open source, will provide four basic capabilities: data inputting, database management, query analysis, and ultimately visualization. So these are the four basic, I would say, components of any GIS which is available. So basically, once you have these capabilities, you can really work on the GeoHealth aspect. The second part is the health science, where we try to see that how the two disciplines, spatial epidemiology as well as the healthcare, geography of healthcare, means we talk about health facilities, or we talk about the variation in health status. So many aspects are covered under health science. So these two disciplines, basically, if they talk to each other, you can really handle the GeoHealth problems. So as I was telling you, that since GIS handles all that W's of where, how, when, and all these W's are being addressed by GIS, so it has got even much more potential you can directly apply a query on the basis of location. You can apply a condition on the data sets. You can understand the trends. You can understand the patterns. Even you can understand, or I would say, you can develop what if scenarios. If we are changing the health facilities, what impact it will happen on the overall the health facilities. So all these location, allocation, and so many other aspects can be thought of once the GIS is being used. So what are the GIS application in health? Like identify patterns and problems, identify hotspots, use as a visual aid, shows a relationship, look direction. I think this is a very, I would say, only 5% which I am showing you, but the potential is much more as we see, because or I would say as per our requirement, we are able to generate those products. So here you can see that, as I was telling you, that there is a relationship between people, location, time, and health. So you can see that there are two areas which primarily work upon. One is the geographic epidemiology, where you address more applications on the GIS domain, whether you talk about cluster analysis, whether you talk about correlation analysis, whether you talk about diffusion. And in fact, all these things revolves around the spatial data, software, mapping, analysis, and people. So you can see that the inner core is the basic, I would say, the basic components which are required in GeoHealth. And on the top part, you can see that these are the applications, whether you talk about geographic epidemiology or you talk about healthcare geography. All these things are taken care. Like healthcare geography is more towards the facility planning, and it is also it deals with the accessibility analysis. So these are the components of GeoHealth. You can see spatial data, software, mapping, analysis technique, and the people. And if you see the down the line, all these components, data is the most important, because what is happening is in the actual the problem with the GeoHealth is the data. Because if you don't have good data, it is really whatever efforts you do it on the modeling, whatever efforts you do on the analysis, ultimately it may not provide you the desired result. So the most important part of any GIS application is the data. So the location and the time of the disease, location of health facilities, then the secondary data sets which relates to those data sets has to be available. So that is more of a spatial data, because whenever we talk about spatial data, the important thing is we are talking about latitude and longitude, means that it has got a geospatial dimension. The software, there is plenty of software which are being used, but here primarily we are focusing more on GIS as well as some of the statistical software. Then you have mapping, location of patients. You have to generate different type of the mapping tools by which you can create those maps. And once these maps are created, you are able to do the analysis with the help of the tools available in the GIS software. And ultimately the people, whether you are consumer or producer or the whatever type of the requirement you have, all these things can be provided. So basically geospatial data, when we talk about a data which has got a location, that is the spatial data, or I would say more of a geometry, and the characteristics of those data set, means the whatever the non-spatial information you want to relate with that particular. Now here I'm only showing you this is a tree, is one of the example where the location is captured. Now this location could be a point, line, or a polygon. It all depends upon what type of information you are trying to capture in your system. So it could be a point, it could be a line, or it could be a polygon. And then similarly, you also have the non-spatial information where you are trying to look for the attributes. There could be n number of attributes which can be related to that. So basically, location is more of size, shape, and geometry, and the non-spatial, or I would say characteristics, could be the quality of that particular location. So all these things are nothing but a geospatial data, where the spatial and the non-spatial data is an important feature. So basically, whenever we talk about spatial data with respect to GeoHealth, we are looking for the primary data, because primary data is the actual captured data on the ground. That is the most important thing. Like for instance, we talk about location of a patient or the health facility, means we are pinpointing the location where we are collecting. So that is the primary data, which is a part of the spatial data. Another data could be a secondary data, where you are trying to link this primary data with the secondary, like census information, or you are trying to link with the environmental variables like rainfall, temperature, soil. So many aspects can directly be related, because disease might be related with the environment, because that is an important variable which people are trying to use in order to develop the correlation between different entities. So this is two aspects, primary and secondary, where we have these type of data which can come. Another part of GIS is visualization, or let me tell you about the maps, because these maps convey a million words. They have a lot of once you look at the map, you can really understand that in which area you need intervention, in which area you really want to provide the services. So you get a clear picture on the once you look at the map. So visualization is one of the important component of the maps. Whether you talk about the health facilities or you talk about the number of cases, the COVID cases, I've given you certain examples. So there could be a visualization, or there could be maps in the form of point, there could be a map in the form of polygons, there could be a map in the form of clusters, and there could be a 3D animation maps. So you have n number of ways and means to depict your information in the form of maps. In fact, there are different scales, or I would say the legends plays an important role, where you have the possibility of creating the qualitative or the quantitative assessments. When I talk about qualitative, means you are trying to provide the categorical, or I would say more of ordinal. These type of data sets can be shared, where you are trying to show the degree of I would say order, high, medium, low, that way. Or you can show a categorical way, where you want to show the unique feature of a particular polygon. But when you talk about the quantitative assessment, you might show the data in the form of an absolute value, which can be represented as a ratio scale, or you can even represent them in the form of interval. Or there is also a possibility of showing those maps in the form of clusters. So there are so many examples. I think I'll be sharing you some of the examples of the COVID, where a lot of cluster map have been created. So there are various types of maps related to location of patients, absolute number of disease cases, area of disease, where does the disease occur, prevalence rates, catchment areas of medical facilities, variation in space and time, diffusion of disease. All these things can be directly visualized. So this is an example of the COVID dashboard, which have been created by various agencies. I think John Hopkins was they were the people who were really providing the moment there was an outbreak of this COVID in Wuhan, or they started showing these maps in the form of clusters. Even not only that, there were initiatives by WHO, then early alert, and even some more. And you can see that the way the analytics were provided. And in fact, it's not only the spatial analytics, but also there was an analytics in the form of the bar diagram. So the basic objective is it's all the visualization which basically governs your the how the disease is behaving in a particular area. So these things can be visualized, and one can really understand that how. So these type of timeline bars can be created, as well as COVID the spatial dashboards, which provides much more information. And the similar visualization was made possible at national level also. There was in all the at the country level. I think many dashboards was created. Bhuvan is one of the example, and then we have the dashboards from the industry. Whether you talk about ESRI, whether you talk about Map My India, there are so many different industries who try to capture all that information and want to show to the user so that they can get a good understanding. In fact, there was initiative on the citizen science aspect also. Lot of data, I would say the voluntarily people, they were trying to share the data into the portal, and you can see that a lot of information was available with the help of people's participation. So all these initiatives, ultimately the basic objective of all these initiatives is to share the information and also try to see the visualization that how the entire how the disease is behaving, or I would say the infectious disease is behaving in different parts of the country. So these are the mechanism by which you can really make your information more understandable, and people can make use of all this information. So this I was telling about the John Hopkins dashboard. In fact, this is a little bit old snapshot which I have captured, but you can directly visit the COVID-19 dashboard and you can see the actual status. And if you can drill down the country level information, and within the country you can see, you can get all the data sets which are available. So this is the beauty of the geospatial or I would say GIS. Because of this GIS, people could really understand the behavior, as well as they can see that how the disease is traveling. So I have in my earlier slide I told that if disease is traveling faster, information has to travel even much more faster. Now, because of the citizen science or because of the ICT technology, all this information can directly be visualized on the dashboard, and one can go for the interventions so that some preliminary measures can be taken. So when we talk about spatial data analysis, as I told you that it has been categorized into two: healthcare geography and spatial epidemiology. And here, as I was telling you that the bigger component of GeoHealth, here I'm only talking about the cluster analysis, where we are trying to create the either it can be a hotspot, or it could be a cluster, or it could be an outlier. So you can create different type of maps depending upon your requirement. You can also try to if you have the incidence data available, or the geotagged information of the patients or the health facilities are available, you can relate it with the environmental variables or even social variables. So all these things can be thought of by which you can really put some emphasis. The third is the diffusion analysis, where you try to understand in which direction or in which how the trend is moving with respect to space and time. So these type of understandings can be developed, and ultimately once you develop this understanding, you can provide better inference with respect to the behavior of the disease. Healthcare, when we talk about, as I told you, that we talk about accessibility analysis, that is, there should be a minimum distance for the person to visit the health facility, because whenever we talk about health facility, our main objective is it should be within our reach, and we should able to reach within 10 minutes, because if the health facility is quite far, then we may lose the basic objective of the why we have created the health facilities. And the planning of health facilities means, if we really want to locate new health facilities, GIS can be used in order to provide the best possible location where the facilities can be provided. So I was talking about the hotspot and cluster analysis. In fact, this gives a fair idea that how the entire disease is behaving. Rather, in fact, I would say that hotspot, there are a lot of hotspot maps which have been created by considering the neighborhood, by considering the overall the number of incidence cases. In fact, most of the hotspot analysis is being carried out by making use of different statistical mechanism like Z-score, where you talk about the standard deviations, and then p-value, where the probability is considered. So basically, once you have the distribution of the data and you are able to create those statistical analysis, it is easy to create those hotspots or cold spots, and even you can create the clusters depending upon the neighborhood, because you can see that different type of clusters can be created. If feature is higher, neighborhood is higher, or if feature is lower, neighborhood is lower, you can create a cluster. Even if there is a opposite, that is, if feature is higher, neighborhood is lower, these type of relationships are created, then you can create the outlier. So all these hotspot and cluster analysis provides even much, I would say, better mechanism of creating those different contaminant zones. So these type of analysis can be done by making use of GIS, and it can give you a better understanding. We have also carried out one analysis by which we have used the machine learning based approach, where we have taken the incident data from the global data sets, and then try to relate with all the environmental variables. And we found that with the available data sets, and that too of a typical time period, there was some relationship with respect to mean temperature, with respect to precipitation, or with respect to the mean diurnal range. So these type of relationships can be established if you have a good hold on machine learning, and you can understand that how the predictive analysis can be thought of. Although many analysis was not up to the mark in this case because of different reasons, and because of the I would say the more clarity of this pandemic was not there. In fact, we have also tried to relate the nitrous oxide with the number of mortality, and there was some cases observed in India, and in fact there was very high correlation observed in Italy, where the number of mortalities was more high because of the more NO2 concentration. And this particular data was taken from the Sentinel this thing, and then we try to develop the relationship. So these type of things, these type of maps can be created, and once, because the idea is how we can have better understanding. So once you have the relationships available, you can develop those type of aspects. So this is another aspects of the analyze, prioritize, and evaluation impact. In fact, if you look at these points basically, these are the health facilities. The red spots are the health facilities, and you can see that there are so many areas which are marked red needs the health facility. Why? Because a lot of mortality was happening in those areas. So basically, in that area, we have to pinpoint, because we cannot have health facilities everywhere. So according to the depending upon the number of population, because if you have limited number of health facilities which can be reallocated, you always look for the population where the maximum people can benefit. So these type of analysis, site suitability analysis, can be done directly by making use of the GIS. Similarly, you can even understand that if I change the location of these health facilities, how it is going to benefit the people. So these type of the potential clients within threshold, all these analysis can be done once the GIS database is created, and you can do the impact assessment, you can do the prioritization, and ultimately you can even analyze the present availability. Different type of softwares have been used in GIS, or that too in health domain. There are a few very GIS specific, the health specific softwares are there, Happy Info or Health Mapper and all. So they are mainly on the health domain, but there are journal GIS packages, like you have commercial softwares, you have open source like QGIS, and there are so many other softwares by which you have all the facilities available, or I would say all the functions are available. You can make use of this. But there are few dedicated softwares, like for instance, if you really want to do the cluster analysis, you can make use of SAT-SCAN, or if you want to do some machine learning, you can make use of R. So there are some specific softwares, or there are some general software where basic analysis can be done. So I think open source software I think is being used, because whenever you really want to work on in the research mode, you can always opt for the open source softwares, because like QGIS, if you talk about, you have a good number of plugins which are available, and in fact, and every new version provides more and more plugins. And in fact, because of these plugins, because of the people participation, or I would say because of the consortium, people are trying to contribute in the development of QGIS. And there are some specialized package, as I told you, that we have Geoda, we have SAT-SCAN, and even there are some more model. Only limitation with some of the specialized software, I would say, let us talk about R or this, you really need some skill development. And if you are very much familiar with these R software or with these thing, it will be easy for you to use any type of open source and ultimately can provide you the desired results. Geohealth, when we talk about, as I told you, that we have producers who are actually the people who are creating those data sets, who are applying these, mainly scientists or GIS specialists, who are ultimately creating those maps. And in fact, there could be people who are working on public health. They can, I think they have good understanding on some GIS, and they might have some understanding on health aspect. So these are the different type of groups, or I would say producers, who are ultimately creating those maps for the public domain. And then there are consumers, because once you are available, once the maps are available, people can use it for different decision making. And also, like I was showing you the dashboard of the John Hopkins, and there are different type of dashboards which are being created. So ultimately, many users go for these, they try to see those dashboard and try to make use for their different applications. So a lot of users are there in this particular domain. ISRO Bhuvan, I think a lot of database real-time, near real-time information is available in Bhuvan. and in fact, the state-wise analysis, and even there are so many mobile applications. They have developed so many applications during this COVID-19, especially the distribution aspect. All aspects are covered in this Bhuvan. So maybe you can visit Bhuvan portal and you can see that different type of applications are provided for the on COVID as well as other applications. Map My India is also, I think, they are providing a lot of information because in the first wave, these applications were available during the first wave, where you can see that district hotspots, then state-wise corona cases, district-wise corona cases, treatment centers, testing labs, everything was geotagged. And because of this geotagging, people could get real information that what exactly do we need, especially the vaccination and all those things. All that information is available, and in fact, the what I'm trying to say is that the information is enormous, and once you put them in a GIS domain, it provides a lot of information. So ultimately, GIS can be used to overcome the greatest challenge in war against disease. So I think it provides humans mobility, wherein all the information can be captured and ultimately it can be analyzed. Healthcare community is using GIS to understand the behavior of both the communicable and non-communicable diseases. Dashboards have been created to understand, track, and analyze the spreading speed of infectious disease through real-time maps, based data visualization at different scales. GIS makes people around the world aware of the real-time tracking of health threats through alerts, or even I just forgot to tell you about the Arogya Setu app, which is a mobile app. Primarily, it works on the concept of contact tracing, and in fact, this is a classic example of GIS proximity, wherein once you have the data in the Arogya Setu, you are able to see your neighborhood and you can take utmost care while traveling or while moving here and there. So this is a classic example of contact tracing of the Arogya Setu. I would say that if you are well versed with the artificial intelligence, you can make use of machine learning and deep learning as well as big data analytics for understanding health dynamics, as well as look for the predictive modeling. Although predictive modeling in case of COVID was slightly difficult, the reason was that because because when we work for the epidemiological modeling, you really have to study a lot of parameters, and those parameters, I don't know whether to what extent they are realistic in nature. And once those parameters are understood, then it is possible for you to come up with a predictive modeling, but it is really difficult to come up with a good accuracy. We really need a strong linkage between government, industry, and academia for better decision making. And it is always important to have the capacity building and the awareness program on the GeoHealth, just to make awareness that how this particular technology can bridge the gap between the GIS professionals and the health professionals. So with this, this is a paper which was recently published. A review of geospatial technology for infectious disease surveillance use case on COVID-19. I think you can directly visit this our Journal of Indian Society of Remote Sensing, and you can download this paper, and it talks about whatever aspects I have told in my lecture. Everything is properly summarized. Whether you talk about modeling, whether you talk about epidemiology, whether you talk about contact tracing, whether you talk about citizen science, all these aspects are covered in detail, so that you will have much better understanding of the entire technology. So this is all from my side. So thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir, for such a wonderful and informative and such a nice presentation. And now this is the question answer session. So the participant, you can ask the question for after this session. Like right now, you can ask the question. Participant, anybody can ask the question. Sir, I would like to ask one question, sir.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
so that is the nowadays it is seen that so much data is pouring in. The data is now coming from different agencies. The data is pouring right now. I would like to know the what are the best libraries actually which is available that we can do this kind of analysis, especially in the related of the health, because there are many libraries which we have used for the different census data, and we do the analysis, we find out the map from there also. Is there any open source effective library available that for in the perspective of the health analysis we can use that? Right.
See, basically, are you talking about the primary data related to COVID?
Yeah, related COVID, yes, sir, related COVID and such kind of health information and data we have. We wanted to like give a spatial and the analysis we wanted to do, and through that the such kind of dashboard we want to reach up to that dashboard. So this is also the integration of some that you have told that the R that we should know the basics of R, and some open source is also available. So such kind of open source.
See, basically, if you really want to do the like COVID-19 I was talking about, there is a one citizen science website. Maybe I can forward to Dr. Roy Chaudhary. You can directly download the all the COVID-19 primary data which is available, and even through ICMR website also, Ministry of Health and Family Welfare. There also you can download this data, and through Bhuvan also you can have you can get the primary data with respect to COVID-19. And when you talk about this the libraries and all, there are already our libraries are there for different functionalities. You can explore that, and even there if you are really working on the health related aspects, you can go for SAT scan. Some good cluster detection software is there. Then you can also, if you are working on epidemiological modeling, you can refer to STEM. There is one software which works on the epidemiological modeling. There are some use cases available. And anyway, GIS software, QGIS, if you really want to work on the networking analysis, which I was referring to, healthcare facilities or location allocation, you can make use of the QGIS plugin where the networking analysis is available. So basically, depending upon the requirement, you can explore the softwares. But when you talk about general GIS software, QGIS anyway can help you. But if you are talking about specialized application, then you can refer to SAT-SCAN or R software, where libraries are available. And then there are other softwares also, which I mentioned in my slides. Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Good. Okay.
Anybody else wanted to ask the question related? I think everybody like satisfied by the presentation and they understood also, sir. So thank you
Thank
so
you.
much, sir, for such a nice and informative session. Um, I think
Thank
it's
you.
thank you
Thanks.
very much.
Thank you.
So participants, now this is over for today, and tomorrow we will meet again at 3 p.m. Any question wanted to ask? You can write also next session. So thank you, participants. বলছি কি কিছু?
Ma'am, can we leave the session?
Hello, am I audible?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
You can hear.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. You are. So, thank you, dear all participants, for joining with us. And for tomorrow, please join on time before 3 p.m. And I requested to all of you kindly submit your assignment, your due assignment. Please submit soon. So, thank you for joining with us. Everybody can left now. Can able to leave now. Thank you.